Tosayan an seal ag tais bieint itra a tharla mayanar o shin. Tar kailin agent ag sruthu I fain ag bakail rain millis foif orgesta sigob fuel bolad iron tach the lot fetchener atter ag dul armire la trictina sach umrer. Tais bienen si ce chumbog orgus preberg is atter an tiaran orgus ansin grioshnayan siren sruth lays no lot fetchener ag suil lays an gseed oidius isle. Susta lays an torad, de siger rathab hi an. Choir an akara alin estich uthi ag fi afrian fuel siri orgus linan si uthi ag ragom biishia di anak don choi an orgus koners adif hedford si dirmed adhinam go reba kara an. Choir an priam sharaktar roy an ide ilas mui uthi go tartar orgus I ag gabil lath seal the kara orgus ag fi afrian fuel si chun diul chadu. Di bayan akara di igom bi gakrot cert go lara margo fuel SEO na skoil orgus go kaith fi si diul chago dain than du chun mishu armnius a she chaint orgus choir an si lays agra, ce of heos, beef hater gom bi se naf here foith. Fair an kara alin choi go lara ad malakar id konai margo fuel si dis orgus bayan dawin gola dis agantis. Ik bayan quid acumithanim her tar eyes duibab hyth diul tave. Orgus sin an fath go fuel an priam sharaktar ag dul lay chun hyth ina garder koyap the karar. Tar ajan ag fanact id perkin a slame orgus siolan si teeks duig a kara lacur in uldi igom si ag feramerk. March sin, glayer uthim Europe fuel a on rod cert. Tar si beganen fausim gob fuel an fear ona skoil, 8 fan fe si delek fus orgus koiania si suil ara karar. Siolan gaitiks rais ag biokaz orgus ag dibhu diajan gob krioshnoi si rudai go gaster orgus go rache si amerk. Free agryan ajan latiks admor. Orgus I ag fanact amui. Tugan si faudira gob fuel sen fu inu orgus lorgayan si tithia lame nu aglaya strainser uthi go toban. Tosayan fear art ag kaint lay, ag fi afrian feedford se trirachara era orgus ca hate ar kurt du dul chun anti ionit stoit culturther abint amerk. Free agryan si go tarper, ag fechaint ar a fon chun no trirachar serter of hail, orgus de si lays an bus a thogale si chas an fai balak. Der se lei gan de fer adhinam orguster se gob fuel shiad ag scanna nu kraulter an ein deri, 8 choir an si estich agra immer an pes chundal an. Go toban, choir an se alam argwilin orguster se gob fuel si go dis, gardi. Breath nyan scion scan wraith orgus ag fi afrian fuel suim aesiab hyth ener brez the crowled orgus ag era uthi teat lays chun tastale seamerer adhinam. Toy onion sea graham orguster se gob feetford side willad la dawin kalular ag an lar fair scane na iater orgus fi afrian se arizan fuel si ag era teat. Ondrak pleasert toban, reortan si swas orgus is ar igen is fider lay focal a rachon ia diulchu. Ansin gujan si gob fuel eglarm hor uthi roin horgus nark fider lay la bayat na rith. Ar amarayan sawil, rug fear il archeol na lame. Gan ab hyth in an brizard sire, fi afrian an fear art ce he an fear sin. Tar ajan faushium gob fuel cunum fate age. Ik is kojuil go en athnian si orgus fi afrian sed iron fuel si cert go lur. Aryan an fear art feargik orgus tosian se ag biasil, ag fi afri, koners a liomhan an brat beak sin per estich orgus a ra lays ligen du emit. Kasan an fear il lam an go tartar orgus skawili an ser an talam e8 a skredalian se onshan char. Tagan napoilini goluath orgus tarangian shiad an fear art rshiul orgus ag biasil narc siapad tosian ain, ater sarath ag gakrud, ag kawanid go hard agra narctit fed sirium don clias tastarla semerer. Choir an fear estich uthi agragur kurt di iacosar a used murifida lay alamer a used. Ansin tujan sigur bi park junwu. Acum scholar, eos rod eager ian mac line is fury, Fuyu murab fuel avn aesi arm horan dawin saskoil, 8 tar avn aesi Orgus ifus agul, gaban sibiocas leis as cabru lei orgus de siger cheap sigo rabe si chun base of hail den igler orgus gob fuel si ags mawanim center fath ab fuel se anzil. Aab ger orgus free agrian se narcombanian se lei. Ak neuger shabil se al, is fider lei fabar adhinam du. Arndui, antian si marni maith lei ab hyth ib fiarcher ardaun. Garian se orgus as an fabar, dief hedford sire barn comictor a thabiat sark du. Tarainth agan maid adir se, lace uthia sil bislu achmer a thabiat du. Minion se go rabe se ag breath new arcloish sisfile orgus ger basiacal rai agan noimiad is tabork teal. Dianan sia dicker diulchu, agragob fuel si ag dullabil goluath orgus narc fida lei a thabiat sark du. Tugan a cara faudira un pert lasmui, orgus junwu ag atu id gonai mura maith lei ab hyth ib fiarcher ardaun, gur kurt di a thabiat sark du. Lest I den chaith, ran un fear lena cara friegra admile, 8 lenan a cara ag stanad un beat tauib amui. Season si swas orgus inchin si du narcum trother seo chun labiat faus in orgus gur kurt du roy ant armor a thabiat di mawanim. Orgus I ag fail a quid rudi orgus ag emit, de si gertanig rod agen pre anich chun sin orgus gob fic fi si scoil. Lasmui, lenan agen ag fi afri siem head armor il abhay de dith chun a barnk comictor a used. Orgus inchin sedi fanact marnil se plugailt estich age fus. Tugan choichuigan beat tauib amui orgus rugan sir agen, agra, timis abil. Lenan jungmin ag stanad beat, gan tusint of hail arab fuel arsiul, orgus aab ger choyer, ags mawanim go mbif hader go fuel se ina shura leis and fear a titanian lei orgus gom bseuzedh. Diamayan part. Orgus lean si ag tarain agen timpil gan aon rod arar. March sin, fi afrian an priam sharatar an raid rod agen tarlave, center fath gob fuel si chum de sin, orgus girth han a barn comictor ina dear. Aab ger an cara orgus de si narc fuel tudor an. Bayan a mather ag gleoch uthi id gonai la go enimout si abil go tarpe, sin an fath gon bayan si ag brostu. Tugan agen barag di orgus fi afrian si coners a chwe rudai, orgus de si go enin sioi si di an bilik abil. An maidin di argsioin, tar is slan of hegel, di an gakduin chuiga rang orgus gielan shiad dwalad la shial agan lon. Orgus I ag siul chuiga rang fain, Fujan si narc rabe si in an kotlet go maith marga go rabe imni uthi fawina barn comictor orgus beef hader gur kurt di a choi an niel sa bil marshout tigle. Tar roy and kailini ag stanad a merkfuin ogan ranger, agragob fuel se dathuil orgus gurb isin an fath artanig shiad juigan skoil sail. Gian agen istich sasi omra ranger orgus ag stanad club lot li nuna jun wu orgus ags mawanim gob feedford an erd seo golar ab hyth tusuil, ag is kojuil narc fuel curam Tugun si chuij agra, gab mo laith seal orgus fi afrian si daglar isel an quimin leis I orgus an fuel an barnk comictor age. Stanan se uthi orgus season se swas dire each la rugurf hug se an barnk comictor sabil ein deri, 8 gog si anoi se an nias fiordial. Choir an si scowl uthi fain, agra narc fuel se reartnik, gob fuel an shornchian luach mar orgus gur kurt du thabiat leis amarak. Orgus I ag stanad choir an si seast uthi fain. Beef hayden narthuig se go rabe se brist orgus narc rabe se ag aber ein deri. Tosian se ag fragert di la cert go lur, 8 choir an muintier estich ag teat estich sasi omra ranger orgus ran se agak duin a swiakain a glakard margar an clog ab hyth ag dwalad chian fain. Tar is don rang crioshnu, tar se in loin. Tar an pert cherd agith orgus fi afrian cho, unduit park jun wu go tabarford se leis amaraki. 3 Agryan and Neomer Gurchin Tai Sigo Rabe of Heos Age Go Kaithfi See a Fabiat Lays Amarak. Molan Akarago Mbif Hader Gom Whale Feed Si Lays Tar Eyes Nuskoil Inuyu Orgus and Seal Ryaf Hail Dial. Aryan Psycharath Orgus Fi Afrian Cyan Bse Ro 3 Obloidi Ach the Karar, Aikta Choin Ark Fuel Tudor An, Orgus Tar Si Saster Kabru Orgus I Ag Magard. Tar Eyes Don Skoil Krioshnu, Tosian Se Ag Kurbasti. Aranbus, Tar Roy and Kalini Saster Gob Fuel Skaith Fiertin Akumar the Zayan by Steech Chum Toben Sin. Brun Jun Wu and Knipe Don Pastapad Agan Xeed Stadile. Tar Choi Ener Sway Aranbus Sianer Orgus I Ags Mawanim Girthi Stay Way the Icon I Druidim Niascared Du Jun Wu Orgus Nar Cheap Syrium Gob Quidiad Ajan Lays Sin Adhinum. Ag Stanad Aradroim, Smawanayan Si Arcad Ba Kurt Di Adhinum Chun Rudi Adhinum Began Nias Tapular. Is a Plin a Skaith Fiertin a Shieldina Malar Orgus Dul a Merk Agan Stad Sianer. Stepan and Bus. Osklyan Jun Wu a Skaith Fiertin Orgus Tugan Si a Merk Azanbus. Tosian Si Agrith Dire each Ina Da Orgus Glay Arn Si ar Ain Mamerk. Lenan Pai Niascared Du Orgus Tugan Si Estich I Fain Marsharer Ajan. Orgus I Agniom Hu Gogli Ort, De Si Gerchui Ajan I Chun an Barnk Comictor of Hail Rais. Bref Nyan Se I Unters Orgustor Se Go Raid Se Chun E a Fabiat Dir Skoil Amarak. Aglinuint Argilena Habert, De Si Gerthi Stay O Ajan Gob Fairt Si Ego Tarta Mar Gob Fuel Se Taborktik. Galen Jan Wu Orgus Tugan Si Choir E Di Linuint Lays. Dianan Sire Dicker Koyani Ale Swas Lane Aluas. Tar Eyes Tamil Agsiul, Fi Afrian Siren Fuel a Thich Fus Ibfad Way Margo Fuel Shiad Siul Ter Golar Chianer Fain. Stupan Se Orgustor Se Gur Kurt Di Fanact Os a Comer. Sin Nu a Thugan Si Faudir Gur Shiul Shiad an Bilik Arfad Koi Spaller Farder Orgus Fi Afrian Si Go Hyan Terzarkan Sinan a Thich on 8 are the Zay Shiad Agsiul an Bilik Arfad Go DTIN 8 Ab Fuel Shiad a Noi. Dimnian See Orgus I Ag Mayan Hirfau, Tujan Si Gob Fuel Se Sibher, Mac Line Densketh, Tethuil. Bhed Se Enab Huakil Foif Dial. Agniom Hu Gogli Ort Aries, De Si Gur Choir E Bastich Uthi Aran Bilik Orgus Gob Fuel and Fu Uthi. Beef Hader Gob Feedford Si Trio Mu Isti Ar Fed Hamail. Dianan Sire Dicker Kuma Thruer Ab Hyth Uthi I Owners Narkandi Ultoi Se Orgusta Si Gob Fuel Fuar Uthi Orgus Gob Fuel A Feeler Uthi Narthug Sire Skaith Fiertin Lei Inuyu. Tugan Se a Skaith Fiertin Di Orgustor Se Gom Beserais Lay 3 Ach Orgus Gur Fida Lei U said. Ina Dia Sin, Tian Se Estich Orgus Fanan Siri Ortina Hate. Feargik Fauinkus. Season Si Ansin Agi Array of Wisint Koners Aliomhan Se I Di Ulchu, 8 Glaken Si Lays Orgus Siepen Si Them Bead Se Roisker, Nark Bead Se Spray I Will. Tar Tamal an Om Hoti Si I Omayash. An Lardia Oxioin Agan Shupper Ice, Tar Akraz Aran Neomer Margur Chudale Si Rof Hader Orgus Ni Rabe Si in an Brick Feaster Earth. March Sin, Tar Si Chunrod Ajan Achia Narka Murphy Go DTIM Loin. Rojni Si Koplar Rod Orgus Pyan Ti Omlan Nyaslu Na Quig Dollar. Aiktar an Kaza Nark Fuel A on Ergid Ara Carter. Idar an the Lin, Tar an Skew Ain Ag Miju. Tar Si Turtaith Fawina Liunters Golara U said an My Sao, Orgus Iran Si Aran Kazer an Bay an Banana Aguraduthi. Der Se Narklar Efus Orgus Fi Afrian Se an Fuel Carter Il Asi. Tosian Dawin Saskuain Agdiran Fawin Fanact Fader Orgus Iran Si Go Hastich Gak Roda Kalu, Aikta Duin Ajan Owner Tawib Thioc Lane a Charter. Breth Nyan Si I Unters Jan Mu of Haishial an Orgus Iokan Se as a Quid Rudai. Sulan Shiad Arskoil La Shial, Aik is Kojuil Gob Fuel an Gayu Mar I Stich. Bryce Orn Cyan Tioi Tribusho Kazagabil Lays Orgusta Sigo Eniak Face Iraise Amarak. Der se lei gan ab hyth dwarta marnil an chist fawin bank comic teriatydd fus. Ansin tugen sign arc fuel se chumfwar orgers neemsium sin, os rod ego raid imni fawin bank comic ter a thabiat rais an tiam fad sale. Ag magard fawin seal, der se ger cheap se gonbeat se ag cloistiala boiled ag dranade an lar fad murag sinad se an sneasiana dial. Tarkai ag breth nu or thu ochian orgers ni thu exai center fath ab fuel shiadla shial orgers ag neom hugo cared diil. Dire each tar eyes di idol ist each sassy omra ranger, choir an ajan seast arjun wuan fuel a barn comictor age orgester se girth wua kara in. Breth nyan sai saster gob fuel se ag choichianer fein orgers gob fei sai nias di anai. Orgers choi ag ere adhinam amerkad atar arsiul ider un sin. Tar eisen ranger, tar an neomer orgers choi ag dul swas stay ar nu ada choi nark fuel an barn comictor asi margar chaith gen wu amerk e breth nyan an priam sharak tar mirbal marduit se girth wu a kara in. Fi afrian kaigo lom un credian ajan jun wu thar a an. Orgerster ajan, atar frustrak. Ni he sin enaya cheap syrium go rabe se marsin. Center fatham beat se bregurk. Ce gob fuel cybernak fawin bank comictor, tugan kai solars di, orgers quimnian sinu arin a hafer an gluatiac chianer, ag tabayat an bin comictor di the briefler. Ducho, taraf heos agam go rabe an lutter ini parter sin chum luach mardit. Ain no, rais ina si omrer, smawinayan sai, center fath gob fuel sai chum gay fowla lutter ini parter chum sara sin nark muirirayan go maith fuyu. Sin an wu duit sai lays an mc gan dul gardu park jun wu. An lardia argsioin, hyan ajan chun argaya thabayat arjan wu, ags mawanim arkoners ad hen face I sin os rodi nark kojuil gob fuel moran suim age an. Ider un the lin. Ni fider la kai sesam ag istit lays an priam sharaktar ag kaint fawin lutter ini parter a thuiled. Choir an sai seast ar an neom faw center fath gob fuel curum chum mor uthi faw rod ajan ogian nark fuel moran aven asi orgus mi brian sai di nar obri se ig cert fuyu orgus nark docker gob fic fi sion duin a thug die aries. Argoin tyan an priam sharaktar rais, agra gob fuel of heos ag kai ce chum taborkturk is atar se dial. Gan suim, athrayan a kara an tiabar. Agfi Afrian feedford ajan blain seed of thabayat sark di margar dharmed sire si an fain. Ansin tian ajan istich sasi omra chun an blain seed of hail, eiktagan si arroy ant dawin bailey thoes camera dice. Druidim lei orgers fi Afrian sikad atar arsiul. Fi Afrian nokalaini di iron abriethler tar eisen sawil, diefherg duin ajan brontanners dial. Gan aon rud a thwisint, osklayan ajan an boska mar narki inu a briefler. Tar ionters uthi mar tawi bistai den posker, tar lutter ini parter bandirg dire each kojuil lena shornchian orgus a hain grenter air. Choir an sai seast uthi fain si a diefhergar a diski. An feedford se gerb I choi ab hi ag ere brontanners a thabayat di tar eyes di thwisint go rabe si trina shiil. Choir an sai seast uthi fain, tujan sai nark fider sin adhinam marwtanigan pert ar skoil la shiil. Dianan nokalaini sa rangtrukt ar ce chum dies is atar an brontanners orgers choir an shiad seast uthi fain an fuel liter an alarian ce a shiel ag an noimiad sin, tagan jun wu istich sasi omra ranger ag ere ar choi gan an bilikabik. Nu a thujan sigar be fain atar an, be anayan si du go gaster ar bilik gliork, 18 tar neem hired di omlan dial. Thujan sigar be jun wu an ta unduin saskoil ar fad adhian fad neem hired di orgers credian sigar be an fath nark fuel curum ake faustadier, ake is fiors in na abhyth enamne. Leanan an koganai octimpil ajan orgers dawin agfi afrian fuel duil runder asi beef hader. Der ajan nark fuel, Nark fuel baint arbith age lays sin, ag tar si fios rak phrasen he. Ce gob fuel jun wu ag faird gobir argak focal order skluatiata dhinan ajan agad hisk, tugan kai faudira gak rud. Tosian si agarium race arc, ni credian si gob feedford se ajan a titan lays archair arbith. Chun kur istich aran seal, tugan sian blaine seed swas tuigan priam sharaktar. Gaban ajan laith seal orgers tugan sian blaine seed dial, agi arab walad la shi'al agam loin. Tular enemayan si, kathian kai suil il arjun wula fishi alan fuel se ag fechaint, nil se ag stadir. Glaarn an muintier argakduin orgers to si gom bi rang oil una garkabrak an inu arconers beither a shabil. Balian gakduin agan quert orgers tosian an priam sharaktar ag smauanim ce he an duin a thugan luterd dial. Beef hater gerb e jan wu e fuyu orgers choi agrager chaith jun wu e orgers e agrager thug seraise, choir e an ajan seist fus an fuel se indianter ein deri gerb e a thugan luter nu ardial, ni fida lei ab hyth sint fus. March sin. Kad a tharla don shorn luter tar eisen sauil. Tosian an muintier an rangtri tis beaint koners cumbru koffer adhinum. Orgers la hierakt mhor, fiafrian se an tujan gaktuin. Tar eisen sauil, tar se sactusuil orgers eran se or thu klettered im bt anner. Glaarn ajan archalin in a slay lathri ash. Ictor an muintia gur paled warkili orgers kalini a chaitfi ab hyth an mardif hedford nob warkili an but a brizard thur enimout shiadli o fain. Aryan ajan nibhis each mar nil si agi array ab hyth im beat la jan wu, tugan an muintia faudira a lace orgers de si gur fida lay pert a glackard la jun wu os rod ego fuel shiad gar the shi'il. Nibhis each fauinkas. Ni orbi seo ab highway the archair arbith. Tosian shiad ar an oiluint orgersti anan si erakt fanact began nias fade wathu. Ce gob fuel jun wu ag klettered ar an bud, molen an muintier an kair ab fuel se 18 orgers fiafrian se center fath nark fuel ajan ag glackard pert. Tugan se choir e di trial abint as phrasen. Lanib hizit. Tosian si ag dianam nugcum brut ar an bud. Ag tabayat faudira ce chumbigi erector atter ajan ag cur istich dianan jun mu magard, ag ragob fuel an bud marb chian a fain. Laner uthi, de sin archie, linan se de ragom bid chiad marb fawin seo ther mba gin fire an bradak. Cosne iron si I fain, ag rago raid igler uthi bruro cruer orgers duin agchu. Minion ju nu gob fuel se nath orgers gom brise orn ease nature orienter fuyu la lin cumbru koffer, rud a chu irian ionters uthi fawin contute atter an. Minion se gur fier couplar ease nature a brisard na ligen du gin base of hail. March sin, linan shiad ag klettered. Taran muintia saster un pert of haishial agidignium hu orgers glaarn muintier il uthi agan dorers. Os rud e gob fuel sert based each, chakre an muintier era an chuit a roy ant lays an rang il. Aarntian se. Tar eisen sauil, don oiluint inuyu, ni pay quid den chuit ag to stale wathu. Arndui, tarchoi arginda na kalini a figan lays an rang nu ar orgers tugan si faudira ajan orgers jan wu ag tranail la shi'il. Aglinuint nutrirachar, brun an priam sharaktar kofra an bradak nias di akra orgers arian si nibhis each lays an mothukan orgers an fluame arin se orgers jun wu ag gerfawiner imwabriu. Der se nark mars in adhentar e orgers go muin fi se dial. Agan noimiad sin, rugan ser alam orgers tarangian se thar an brigan iakos rod e nark rabe si ag suil lays. Kalen si kothromiat orgers titan si dire each rud of hagen binak and radar klaseus each pog tea time de tism. Turan muintier atter ag fair argak rodli o cumbru koffer a cleatard, gan suiri. Tosian an rang ar fad ag ger, isla gob fuel kai gre anaith ag an stade, go heraith twask gur thug si rubber diajan gan dul gardu. Nias di anai saurang, tar ajan agi array athwisint center fath narkt fuel kaisert goler. Aektar an villain narkt fuel abald agmathu go maith o ara orgus narkndi chase aek in ulgus tar eyes noni omayater koyab. Terjan ajan dole chuigan otarlan chun roy and lias a glackard orgus scythe eligen. Aek di ultayan choi orgus de si gombi si nias firo tar eyes di icodlad os rod ego fuel and sos loin binak thart. Marsin ba choir duib dul agith. March sin fein, ein deri, is e atter kai ags mawanim nonark fider lei fuyu breath nu argai ajan. Gan ab hyth in an seal a shizam niasmo, fi afryan sion fider lar ajan dul lei fein chun an buyer of hail orgus ligen uthi gob fuel si lei mar, tar isant sawil, nil si agi arego enimauta karaganith. Banian gotter a karalar ajan orgusta sigo rache si lei fein orgusta si lei gan ab hyth dwarter orgus aliers a glackard. Aek ein deri, tar an choibrij agsmauanim arkoners ajan orgus jan wu ascarad ona shiil, agsuil nark brontanners way ab hyan lutter. Sache fertire, motayan ajan began mikompordak agithina hona margob feir an si began istichi. 8 golu 8th choir e anjan wu orgus ashura istich uthi, of the Afryan center fath gob fuel siena honor orgus siab fuel a karar. Tarangian jun wu kathawar American ace lei orgus swian es ishus. Tar sian terzaith gob fuel shiad chun sway lei, orgus tugan jun wu er ispini di ila hiv. Choir e an ashura istich mar, tar isant sawil. Is e ad na ispinian chuid is fear den lon sin, orgus the stay way e ad. Toy anyan ajan ags mawanim gob fuel se ag di anam se o arfad margom brathian se goldener as a lutera chathium amerk. Agi array an gaiu mar istich abrizard, di anan jun mu magard fau ithlab hyth nias later o nark raid si in an ifane ashizam fuyu orgus gur that si erla lin an ranger. Bayan nairn hor uthi orgusta si nar that si ein deri 8 twask girtharain sei as 8 arbith. Tosian an karar agarium raceark marni labrian jun wu la kalini de gnath, gan trikt arabhir a thabayat duib. Linan ajan agith aloin, agantium arfad bayan si ags mawanim arkoners a thabar facian charjan nu ar arnios, iktar si saster gur shui shiad lei ar alagard. Ni gudi ith ina honor. Nu a thujan si go rape si biosh as sin, bayan si gre anith orgusti anan si erakt I fain helad lagog seepford si go rape si go hi omlan cert roin se o orgus nark rape a undoin de dithuthi. Aryan an karachon nias mo buyer of hail. Ider an the linan ajan lena pleen mater laconers labayat fawin charger, orgus nithuig fi jun wu center fath ab fuel si agith gan stad. An maidin da argsioin, figan ajan an teach go di anak orgus tar si artian bus a chaled, akar amarayan sawil, sroishi an si e dire each sular enemayan an bus. March ab the others agsuil leis, tar an bus lan orgus nil a on swiakorn an dial. Faisen si jan wu aran bus orgus motayan sian neri ach ag quimnium aran kau arthit si orgus gur pig narfag shiad. Orgus chun e adhinam nias meserfis, rin se magard faula lin an loin fuyu. March sin, so cryan si neem herd diomlan adhinam orgus ligen uthian archanaik non arcular si e feir an shumanai fogger agra go rabe timpist romin. Marsin is docker go rache nias mo pazanirai aranbus agan xeed stadile. Tosian na pazanirai ag bogard go kulan puschon plotu a she chaint. Nib hogan ajan moran mar nil si agi array breath nu argai jun wu. 8 Canian an shumanai I orgustar se lei bogard nias fade go dti an kull. Tosian jun wu, a chanaik gakrud. Ag ger lei orgus bayan si nias nerith fus martar se ag ger lei as ab hyth kaint. Tosian si ag bogard go kulan pus orgusta jan wu lei fanakt timpil ansin martar spas an. Tar eisen ner sin gola, so cryan si glackard leis orgus fanakt go siu in an. Tar se ag smawanim ungsert du era lei sway ina shuyakan. Aixulum bayan se in an aeon rut adhinum, kasan an shumanai go beer orgus binak go titan na pazini rigola. Orgus arndui, titan arb priam sharaktar dire each in ut junwu. Tar an seal chum gors in gon bayan skaul uthi orgus go enerian si go gaster, agdwalad smig junwu lane a an. Motayan and hurt acuan char orgus gaban si lath seal as titim ara main. Bolad se bolad milis orgus take neem herk ag tit way the orgus bayan ner agra, tar se cert go lurer. Tarlion se. Fau direed, sroishian shiad stad noskoil orgus tosian na pazin nirai goler ag tit merk. Sulan shiad arskoil la hakar bd tarthu orgus sipan ajan gerb seo antium foif chon la bayat fau in later inium parter. Fiafrian sidar an rabe an brontanners o in way. Neef Hedford si smauanim ar aondu in isla deef Hedford adhinum, 8 gaban si biocas more lays as an brontanners. Cheap si go rabe se and ds. Tar se saster gur titan se lay. Orgers den chedwur, fison arb priam sharaktar junwu ag mayan hair. Der se gur chiani se luter inium parta nu rdi martar eisen psawil, bhyaquid brist orgers mhoti se free grak as sin tarlu. Dianan ajan iarakt amina ugo rabe an luter ara choser duri, tar mirbal uthi fus fawin ratius arin choi agragur chafe se luter way mar nark kojuil gurduin iadhian fad alathiid. So cryan si lijan du emit orgus gaban si biocas lays aries, agragob fuel si chun an luter said go minik. Orgus arndui, orgus an noimiad motha canuck seo ag tarlu ider an the friam sharaktar, tar choi ag breath nu argakrod o thau ib nos dar orgus agar I nias id mer orgus nias gren mher agan at maze fear I tarthu os rod eager kurt du jun wu ab hyth ag dul a merk lei, nila ajan. Seolan si titeri at go tarper chuigan gseed here a diadmi dial, ag iarabe walad la shial, orgus bayan se thar ab hyth karave. Ag smauanim go fuel si ag tabayat shorns du fau direed. Iran si kara a thabayat lays, ag ragob fuel a kara thar ab hyth ein gralain assurer, ag so cruan flian foif chunjan wu ab vuchan. Ar laran cruan niv, tar jun wu ag fanact os kamer na pictile an lane assurer tit orgus seolan se titeri ag fiafrian fuel se aran bilak chianer fain. Choir an guth banian onters ag glay ocher aim. Is choi atter an. Thug si kaif orgus soid lays orgus terg si du ad. Tar mirbal fawin quis ob fuel si an orgus fuyu fawin quis ob fuel si ag teris int dioch du. Orgus minion si gur thug si na diokana lays mar, tar eisen psawil, gob fuel shiad chun scanan of haishial la shial. 3 Grian se narc fuel se ag fechaint ar aon scanan lei orgus gob fuel a scanan rt tovu, mars in ba quia di amit. Orgus ag gleoch ar assura la fail a mercad atter arsiul. Gaban jung lath seal orgus dar se gob fuel se seo ar fad ag tarlu margar armian leis dul a merc la kai orgus jun go tarloi se sin, kate fi se scanan of haishial lena kara a titanian leis. Ake shokre jung min, in ionad adu il ag fechaint aran scanan la shi'il, gon beat se nias fear of the fikfed se la choi orgus jun wu lane a karar amin. Mirbal fawin seal ar fad, free agrian jun wu gob fuel ashura my kurt mar gob fuel choi an. Orgus silab feeden se krioshnu ag kaint, rug choi aragatarn orgus kroken si swas. Admayan sayab fuel 18 asi orgus choir an saya guitarn ib folak, agragob fuel si ag iarian se nias mirbalifus orgus admayan siger in is si breg du jung men. Agragur stay way the scanan of haishial la jun wu amin. Admayan si phrasen an wu aduit siger chwe si chun luter inium parter ajan of hail, go rape si ag breg phrasen. Dire each la gob feedford si labiat lays mara is maith lay tar eisen psawil. Tujan se sa direed gur so cru kayab hi anontes. Orgus sulam bayan se in an aon rud era, fi Afrian side cada cheapen se fuithai orgusta sig armian lei gon bid aithen nias fear age uthi. Ag di anam neem hired di, Iran se a guitarn rais, di ultayan si a thabayat rais orgusta si martar se margar young min, gondian fe si point di ultath du orgus Iran si jun wu friagra a thabayat arab fuel aim ho thu age di. Orgus and cas os a comer, fanan se ina thost orgus I sint gon glak fe se lei orgus gondian fe se a motha kane a freigert. Eig brysorn se an tost sa dirid orguster se narc maith leis I tarainth agan friagra, ni thuig fi si coners a dear I leis I a di ulchu. Nyer di ulte di irium chianer orgus nil of hios a cad atala rasa chas seo. Arndui. Tian armboutoir I muin in iron remilm hotha canik orgus tosian se ag cowanid, ag fi afrida coners is fida leis I a di ulchagan fuyus mawanim fed noimide. Tar se sint fawiner chanid orgus nil ungalus mawanim orgus Iran se a guitarn rais. Ag cowanid orgus tarainth ag a friagrer, dianan sire dicker a chur ina lui mawanim nias mo fuithai fain orgus fawiner chuid mothukan. Tu sich den seal, brun se alam wave thee, der se leigan teag mile adhinum leis, orgus os ruddy narc fuel si ag ere an fon a thabayat rais, is fider lei a choi aniel orgus imian si. Trade os camerna pictilean, tar si arbil foud haith nerith marsin. Eig tar si sint narc lig fi si se o slim nu orgus glearn si agra leis an fon a thogale. Kasan se timpil agi ere dirida chur leis an seal orguster se narc maith leis I orgus, sib acu is maith no ulki, narc fuel suim age inti. Is enta on rud atter way foular fair nog on di ultard si du young men orgus gon gapford si laith seal leis. Agan noimiad sin, skowali an si nodiocaner an talam orgus is kojuil gur chael si ein deri. A carndui. Ni rabe priam villain chun ligen du amit chum hisker sin. March sin, fechan si an kaif dut orgus skredalian si, ag ligen uthi gur dog I andui, cabrad priam sharak tarlei. March sin, gian se chuigan go garslan orgus sianian se bindilin chun adu brige acquiri al. Bayan si tharab haith saster gob fuel se ag tabayat began dir lagard margar an du brige sin. Orgus den chedwu, motayan si gob fuel si ag titim eingra laduin agen ein deri. Orgus an sindirith alam, de si gob fuel a croi ag raisiot mar gob fuel se ag koyaniel alame. Ayan se go tarker, skowalian se alam, orguster se gob fuel se ag emit. Orgus credian an kalin mealter gob fuel ner ersular enimian se. Tugan sire guitarn rais orgus gaban si laith seal as a high umpar. Kasan se a drawing orgus sulan sershiul. Ce gob fanan si ansin pualan gregolar al, ags mawanim ein deriger imi se margar arab haith kotile. An kalin bogt, chum mealter. Nias di anai I teach kai, tugan an niomerd go high umlan ida kazak, borter faug chua karar. Orgus Iran kai uthi labayat nias siu in margob fuel tenis sin wafasark uthi. Kugan ajan faudira gob fuel na bindilin arlam choidinter go handaner orgus Iran si bref nu orthu. March sin fain, quimnian choi aran noimiad a rin janu na bindilin sin orgus tarangian si lam wathi go gaster. Sipan priam sharaktar gob fuel si ibpian more, eight cludian si etri gob fuel egler uthi gondian fe duin agen gig mil lane lam duat orgus tujan si gob kaithfi si ab haith nias cura mertgan a fiam hotha kane a noctard. Athrian si an topaic go gaster orgus fi Afrian si cad ian bolad blaster sin atter ag teat on rod a thug agen lay. Is barag pigi a rin ajan fain alue the ful sire merk go rabe choi gorte the orgus thug si lei la hiv. Tara karasaster mara is brayer lei baragar ajan orgusta si lena caradol go dtis omra chun fechaint ar Netflix orgus ith. Arndui, Pai sai chun lijan uthi go rabe sai tin dire each chun ajan achur ag di anam gak rud. Orger sin go dire each adhinan sai. De sai go fuel alam gortaith orgers iran sai ar ajan an board a shakru I owners gur fideli oith. Orgers an board a shakru. Dugan ar priam sharaktar faudir go fuel an busker brusker sab helic orgers so cryan see abhogard. Aik nu of he chan sai estich sa brusker, Fyson sai rud agen atter kojuil la lutter iniom parter bandirg. Chum luaith orgus athogan sai lutter, Fyson sire hames creofer orgus tugen sai gerb se o ashorn lutter. Gan tu sint iomlan asi arab fuel aif haishial asi, fi afrian side a choi center fath ab fuel a lutter iniom parter sa brusker. Bhai kai ag mezabindilin o jun wu orgestier I lay dear medadinum narthug si American brusker. Bhayan fi arnais fus an. Arndui, linan an priom sharaktar ag sistu u orgers fi afrian si, mura bi jan wu a chatham merki, center fatham bid sei teach kai. Gan aon smawanim asi kad atalara, stanan choi ar ajan orgers I ag irati ariati ach chun ilu as sale. Orgus ansin so cryan si a rugger fiax I swas ein deri tar eyes du jan wu a chathium sa brusker. Do it si go rabe si agdul thara feach orgus gur thug si faudira ener posker brusker rod agen bandirga bhai kojuil la lutter iniom parter. Os rod eager cheap si go rabe se an croyoch way, shock ray si an lutter a thogale as an brusker the carrer. Aik ni Marian an breg idfud martar of heos ag ajan nark maith la kairu disa lakar alam ciel. Linan si uthi ag ire era nark ndirna si aik twask gur rod tabork turkey the carrer. Aik si gon bayan kumer to gnath go titan ajan go hisker eingra la breger kai, nil se ag dul chum hisker sin an wu sale. Season si, agragur dane si ag smawanim ar a carrer. Ce gur rud ab fuel fwath asi du adhinum, orgus I ar an eolus fau ce chum taborkturk is ab hi se diagen, orgus narthug si ar aise nias luath mar nark feedford si of hail ca rabe se kurther asi, orgus mayan si gob fuel si thar ab hyth trina shi il margar ar a carrer a chistu u mar zale. Tugan ar priam sharaktar center chuig kai orgus tugan se barag dial. Sin cert. That si eingra lays na breger orgus gab si bio kaz lena karar as ab hyth chum hyan tach sin, rud nark maith lay adhinum dire each armith lena karar is fearur. March sin, dianan shiad riati ach orgus lenan an saul ar argai. An lardia arxioin, tosian an muintir an rang trina chur in iuldu nodalte igo kaith fi shiad an task adhinum im bt anar. Orgus chun aon mishu armnius a she chaint. Rin na muintir I fein nupari. They didn't like the idea much, but the teacher tells them to check the pairs first before complaining. Everyone rushes to the paper to see who's going to be June's partner. And clearly, it's our protagonist, Ajun. People say how lucky she is to be paired with someone so smart. The girls in class start feeling super jealous of Ajun because they also wanted to be with Jan Woo. But the protagonist can only think about how embarrassed she still is to be near Jan Woo after everything that happened. She approaches him trying to start a conversation and asks when they should begin the assignment. But instead, he takes the initiative and goes on saying they need to schedule some time since the school schedule is tight this semester. So, they decided to meet on Saturday. Fast forwarding to Saturday, it's a beautiful day with lots of spring flowers and Ajun wonders if she should invite Kai to hang out after the assignment. Ajun arrives a little early at the cafe and grabs a spot. The place is quite crowded. She starts organizing things on the table before Jan Mu arrives and ends up bumping into her cup, which nearly falls. She manages to catch it at the last second, but makes a big mess. Trying to balance the cup in one hand and her laptop in the other, she feels like she won't be able to hold on to both and will end up dropping the cup on the floor. And it's right at that moment that Jung-woo arrives and catches the cup before it falls. She's surprised but also embarrassed that he arrived at that exact moment. He tells her to go wash her hands and that he'll ask someone to come clean up. Embarrassed, she refuses because she should be the one cleaning her own mess, but he insists and is already heading toward the counter, telling her to just go wash her hands. While she's washing her hands, she receives a message from Kai saying she won't be able to meet her today because she's doing a modeling job. Ajun is impressed by how amazing her friend is and gets excited to also do her best. When she returns to the table, everything is already clean and organized, and he brings her another drink, which appears to be a banana smoothie. She thanks him, and is surprised that every time he sees her, she's drinking some kind of banana drink. She says it's because she really likes bananas. And meanwhile, he starts sitting next to her, and she wonders why he's sitting beside her instead of in front. He says he's going to stay there to keep an eye on her, after all, so she doesn't do anything clumsy again. She gets embarrassed but says that even though she might not be that great at studying, she always helps in group work. Exactly. So she won't be a burden. Amused by her response, he tells her to open the laptop and is impressed that she remembered to bring it. Sometimes it seems like he just came to annoy her, but she's still grateful that he helped her. Meanwhile, Choi finishes her modeling job, thanks the team and starts heading out. She decides she doesn't want to go home because after all, it's still early and she has nothing to do there. She wonders who she should invite to do something and sees several messages from Jors Min since she stood him up by saying she was sick just to avoid going to the movies. She considers whether she should apologize and tell the truth and then sends a message saying she likes someone else and doesn't want him to message her anymore. Just like that. Pretty cruel. With nothing else to do, she decides to go to the cafe where Ajun said she'd be doing her project. And that's when the problem begins. She arrives at the cafe and ends up seeing Ajun with a guy whose back is turned. And she didn't know the assignment would be with a guy from their class. Before approaching them, she makes a point to check her appearance to make sure she looks pretty. Meanwhile, Ajun is impressed that Jung-woo is doing the entire assignment in English without needing to use a translator and is doing it quickly and easily until she notices that his phone is ringing. It's Jung. He answers and the poor guy is crying, saying he just got rejected and he really needs a friend right now. Jung-woo seems annoyed because he knows Choi probably wasn't very kind when she rejected his friend. He hangs up and tells Aiden that something happened and he has to go. Most of the assignment is already done and she just needs to do the design. She understands and tells him to go quickly and not to worry that she'll do the rest properly. Excited because he worked so hard, she wants to do the same. Choi is still there putting on her lip gloss in the mirror when she sees Jung-woo leaving, talking on the phone saying he's going to meet Young-min at another friend's house. That's when she realizes the guy doing the project with Ajun was Jung-woo. She decides to sit behind Ajun without saying anything until the protagonist finishes the work and decides to go to the bathroom. At that moment, she takes the opportunity to mess with Ajun's computer and ruin the whole project because if the files mysteriously disappear, Jung-woo won't get a good grades and will probably be mad at Ajun. That's what she thinks. However, things aren't that easy because Ajun's computer has a password. She tries Ajun's birthday, but apparently that's not it. After trying a few more numbers she thought were likely, she seems to doubt it, but tries anyway and manages to unlock the computer. Turns out the password was Choi's birthday. A bit moved to realize her friend really likes her, she decides not to delete everything and instead leaves only the first and last page. She sets it all up so that when Agent returns, He'll just send the email without checking anything and gets excited thinking about what agent's reaction will be tomorrow. On the day the project is due, the teacher ends up emphasizing that she can't understand the students who didn't submit their assignments, especially since she made it clear that this would affect their grade. She starts calling out the names of the groups who didn't submit their work. Ajin and Janwoo are surprised to be on that list. Everyone in the class starts commenting because it's very strange. Janwoo has great grades in English, and the fact that he didn't submit the assignment will probably hurt his grade a lot. The students start speculating. Maybe the problem with the group was Ajin. Ajin panics and says she did send it and asks the teacher to check her email again. The teacher confirms that they really did send it, but there was some kind of problem with the file and asks if she confirmed before sending. As soon as she opens the assignment to check, she realizes that only the first and last page are there. That's when she's shocked to see that the entire part Janwoo worked on is missing. Everyone starts saying they must have focused so much on the design that they forgot to actually do the project. Ajin starts getting worried because she ended up screwing over Janwoo with this. She wonders what happened. After all, she checked everything and sent it without any problem. Embarrassed, she asks the teacher if it's possible to get a little more time so she can resend the assignment. Janwoo finally speaks up and apologizes to the teacher, saying it seems there was an error and that he resent the assignment. Ain is surprised because even she didn't know he had those files. The teacher kind of accepts the situation, but then she asks them to do a presentation of the assignment to be fair to the other students who submitted it on time. Unlike them, Agent gets super nervous because she wasn't prepared to do that. Junwoo walks to the front of the class and tells her not to worry and to just handle changing the slides. She feels worried even though she knows he's going to do well. She realizes all of this is happening because of her. As soon as he starts the presentation in English, everyone is impressed by his perfect English. And the teacher is very pleased because she knew he was going to do well. Even Ajin is impressed because she knew he was good, but not that good. Then the lunch bell rings and everyone runs to the cafeteria to get their food. Ajin calls out to Junwoo before he leaves. She says she was really impressed by how easily he spoke, even without being prepared for it, especially in front of all their classmates. And now she understands why everyone was jealous that she was in his group. He really is amazing. Before he can say anything, she adds that she's really sorry about the file situation. She checked it before sending and doesn't know what happened and insists on returning the favor. It seems like no one wants to let Janwoo speak because just as he starts saying it's okay, that she doesn't need to worry about it, Jung shows up, interrupting, calling him to go buy lunch. They leave the classroom, leaving Ajin behind. On top of being emotional about everything that happened, she knows Junwoo told her not to worry, but she insists on finding a way to repay him. Meanwhile, our lovely villain is looking for Ajin during lunch to see how disappointed she must be for not turning in the assignment since she assumes Junwoo must have gotten mad at her, so she must be feeling even worse. She approaches and asks how things are going for her friend, but to her surprise, Agent actually seems way too cheerful. The protagonist explains everything that happened, how amazing Junwoo was in saving the presentation, and that they'll probably get a good grade, which is why she's debating which snack to buy to thank him. Kai is totally irritated. How could her plan have gone so wrong? At the school courtyard, Jungmin talks to Janwoo, saying that things aren't going the way he wanted. Janwoo asks what he's talking about, and he says it's about Choi. Apparently, they talked yesterday, and everything seemed fine. Jung was feeling better, but today he's back to feeling down again. He says that his heart starts to race even when he tries to ignore her when they see each other at school, and that since it's the first time he's felt this way, even knowing she likes someone else, maybe there's still a chance for him. Jun-woo immediately shuts it down, saying he doesn't think so, that he's just imagining things. But of course, Young Men doesn't care and says Jun-woo knows nothing about love and that since they're going on a school trip soon, he should try to get closer to her. Jun-woo remembers Kai's confession to him and advises his friend to drop this craziness and focus on his studies because if he gets low grades, he'll lose his phone. The diluted one only replies that love is more important and that Jun-woo doesn't understand because all he knows how to do is study and he doesn't have anyone he wants to see the spring flowers with. Jun-woo, not understanding the importance of seeing spring flowers for some reason, remembers Ajun being impressed with him in English class. On the other hand, it seems like someone isn't very happy with how close Jun-woo and Ajun are getting. Kai seems to be regretting doing all this for Jun-woo, especially because it's not giving her any results. In fact, what she did ended up bringing the two of them even closer. The fact that Ajun doesn't listen to her about staying away from Jun-woo makes her even more irritated. She's arriving home, tired from the day and with a headache, just wanting to rest. But as she opens the door, she hears an argument about divorce. It's Kai's father who simply showed up to ask her mother for a divorce. They're arguing a lot, and Kai can't understand why he even comes around if every time he does, they fight like this. The argument continues. It seems that Kai's father has found another woman, which is why he wants to separate from his old family. Fed up with everything going on at school and now having to go through this again at home, she just can't take it anymore and wants to put an end to it. Her father, practically verbally assaulting her mother, says she better sign the divorce papers soon because no matter what she wants, in the end, she'll do what he wants. But Kai decides to step in and asks if he's going to abandon the mistress, too. So why does he even want the divorce? Annoyed by his daughter's interference, he simply slaps her across the face. Now we can better understand how Chaehae's mind got so messed up. Kai's mother stands up to her father and says he has no right to lay a hand on their daughter and that he should leave, that she's not giving him the divorce. He gives up and leaves while the mother tries to comfort Kai, but she tells her mom to just give him the divorce already because her dad isn't human. Now he even hits her, but the woman seems to be in denial and says she can't say that because after all, he's her father. With every reason to be angry, Choi ends up yelling at her mother, saying she's worse than her father for letting this situation go on like this. Choi ends up locking herself in her room, wondering how she's going to change the life she's living right now, but she ends up seeing several sweets on the table that were delivered by Ajun, saying how much she loves her friend and cares about her. And that makes Kai even more irritated. She knocks all the cookies onto the floor because for her, everything works out for Ajun. But it feels like nothing is working out for Choi. And clearly, she decides to turn all this anger and hatred she's been holding onto a plan to destroy Ajun. That same night at Janu's house, he's having private lessons with his tutor, but he can't stop thinking about why at that moment with the flowers, he remembered Ajun, and that makes his tutor notice that he's distracted by something. The tutor comments that it's the first time he's seen Janu distracted. He brushes it off and says he was just spacing out, but the tutor pushes a little, asking if maybe he's into someone. And of course, before he can answer, he remembers once again our dear protagonist, Ajun. For the first time, we see the main character, Jun-woo, blushing while thinking about her. The tutor asks him to pay more attention, but continues with the lesson. Meanwhile, at the house of the only person who has no idea all of this is happening behind the scenes, she's cooking again, making some cookies to give to her friends tomorrow on the school trip. Her parents arrive home from work and ask her not to stay up too late because she's going to have a full day tomorrow. She says she's just finishing up the cookies for her friends and will go to sleep soon. They comment that her friends must be really lucky to receive all this love from their daughter. Her father, excited about the whole thing, ends up giving in a bit of money so she can enjoy tomorrow and buy a few gifts. Back to her room, packing things for tomorrow's trip, and she decides to bring her portable charger. Looking at the two options she now has, she remembers something that happened a year ago. In the dormitory of Y University, Ajun tries to convince the other girls to stay overnight because after all, it's the first day of camp. However, they're not interested at all in spending the whole night there. They only did it for the extra credit, but it's not worth it. They also remember that Ajun got scolded in class for dozing off and that she doesn't even care about her grades, so they should all just leave together. She then decides to accept the suggestion since she doesn't want to stay there alone. In the dark, they're trying to sneak out quietly so the instructor won't notice, but they're caught off guard when the light turns on, and the instructor's assistant catches them sneaking out. Agent is completely impressed by the assistant and convinces the girls to go back to the room. She blushes and thinks that for the first time, maybe she's feeling what it's like to fall in love at first sight. Back then, she remembers not knowing how she had the courage, but she decided to talk to him and ask for his phone number. They talked almost every day, but all of that changed when he got a girlfriend. That broke our protagonist's heart, even though she knew that maybe to him she was just a student he met at a camp. And it's at that moment we realized that in fact the one who gave the portable charger wasn't Ajun's father. It was the first crush of her life. My bad there. She feels happy just looking at the charger and wonders how he must be doing these days. Back to the present time, we now see a scene at Y University where her crush is surrounded by women and is being congratulated for getting a teaching internship at a school. The girls around him congratulate him and ask where he's going to do this internship. Of course, it's going to be at Sorin High School. Well, after that little spoiler of what's coming in the future, we are finally at the day of the school trip. The students complain that they wish they were going to an island or somewhere farther away. And our protagonist is only worried about where her friend Choi is. She calls her a friend and asks to meet up because she needs to give her something before leaving. As she turns around, she finds her friend all dressed up and even wearing crop shirt, showing that she didn't come to play on this trip. Ajun, absolutely right since they are school students, scolds her friend and says that those clothes showed too much skin. Choi gets mad at her and tells her to stop tugging on her clothes, that she's fine the way she is. The whole crowd stops and admires the beauty of our male protagonist. Both Ajun and Choi are impressed by how handsome he is and how well he dresses. Some girls already approach him, saying he looks really good in casual clothes and asking if he's already decided who he's going to sit with on the train. Meanwhile, Jenwa's friends are already showing that they've brought alcohol to enjoy the night and invite some girls. Choi immediately starts paying attention because she wants to try her best to get close to Jenwoo, and the boys mention that the room where they'll invite the girls is going to be Ajun's room. She then interrupts the conversation and calls out to Jung. Jungmin is shocked because he didn't expect her to talk to him and she says she doesn't want to interfere, but it sounds like their night is going to be fun and she'd like to join. Of course, our little puppy would immediately say yes and even think it's amazing. Everyone starts settling in on the train, finding their seats, taking pictures, enjoying the moment with friends. But Choi is uncomfortable because she doesn't understand why everyone is taking so many photos even though they're just on a train. And she starts shrinking into the corner so she won't appear in any picture. She remembers that in the morning before leaving home, her mom came to give her an envelope full of money, saying that her dad had left it for her to spend on the trip. Choi gets irritated with the situation and throws the money away, saying there's no point in giving her that after everything he did. But the only thing her mother knows how to say is that she shouldn't blame her father like that. Meanwhile, in another train car, Ajin is feeling hot because she decided to wear a long-sleeved shirt. So, she decides to call Choi to go to the vending machine with her. But Choi is sleeping, so she ends up going alone. When she gets there, she finds Jan-woo getting a drink. He asks if she wants anything and she decides to get the same thing as him, a green apple drink, which she says looks really good. When she goes to grab the drink, she sees there is no more. The last one was the one Jun-woo took. He, being the good protagonist he is, decides to give her the drink, saying that actually the one who was supposed to drink it was Young-min, but since he's sleeping, she can have it. Happily, she accepts the drink and asks if it's really okay. And since he says it is, she takes it. For a moment, he forgets he needs to answer and starts admiring her. But then, a guy bursts into the train car they're in and ends up bumping into Ajin, giving us yet another scene of an almost accidental kiss. Jun-woo apologizes while the two are still recovering. Ajin feels a bit of pain in her eyes because her glasses ended up getting hit, too, and Jan-woo notices once again that sweet scent of green apple. She looks at him without her glasses and asks if he's okay. He quickly pushes her away, and she doesn't understand why he did that. However, this moment reminds her of the first time they met in the park when he saved her from that crazy guy and asked her why she didn't use her legs since her hands were occupied. She also remembers when Choi told her that he threw her portable charger in the trash. Without understanding, she asks why he is always mean to her. He realizes she's getting everything wrong and that she seems to think he doesn't like her. And then on impulse, he ends up saying that he actually likes her. Oh my god, our protagonist wasn't expecting that and neither was I. How could he say he likes her? She can't understand anything. She's trying to do the math, but nothing adds up. And she wonders why he likes her. But before she can reach a conclusion, he starts laughing and says that her expression is really incredible right now, and that he really likes her because her reactions are always funny. Of course, she misunderstands and starts cursing at him, hitting him, furious and embarrassed, and he says that hurt. She simply says he deserved it and leaves. Jun-woo calls her before she leaves, but she simply ignores him and he can't understand why she got mad. All she can think is that it's not right. Even if he's the best student in the school, he doesn't have the right to treat her like that. She doesn't want to be treated like a toy. In tears, she remembers the day they met at the cafe and he offered her the drink she had spilled. At that moment, she thought he was a good person. The fact that he confessed to her, if it's a lie, she simply doesn't know what to do. Was he just playing with her, or was he being serious? At the travel destination, the students get ready to take a photo. The teacher asks them to behave, not to cause trouble, and to meet again at the same spot at 6 o'clock. Everyone agrees, and each heads off in different directions. Our villainess, unaware of what happened on the train, is looking for Jan-woo, but she is approached by three guys, apparently locals, who start hitting on her. She realizes they are just playboys, and tries to ignore them and keep walking. But they insist and ask if they can get her phone number while one of them puts his arm around her to hold her. She tries to say she can give them her Instagram instead of her phone number to see if he lets her go. But he insists on asking for her number, and she keeps saying she can give her Instagram ID, and that he can DM her anytime, and she won't ignore him. However, since there are three of them, She starts getting a little worried because she doesn't know if she'll be able to get out of this. And she really doesn't want to give even her Instagram. And that's when our protagonist shows up to save her best friend. Shouting that the teacher told them not to talk to people who aren't from the school. She grabs Kai's hand and runs. The guys don't follow, but it doesn't seem like they'll just let it go. They keep running without looking back, while Ajin is furious that those guys dared to do that to her friend, and without realizing that her friend will always be by her side. To lighten the mood a little, Choi says that she doesn't have to speak formally about those guys because they are only a year older than them, that they are probably also on a school trip, and she starts laughing at the situation. Ajin is impressed that Choi is so relaxed about it and says they didn't look like they were the same age and that they looked way too worn out to be in school. They laugh about it and continue with their trip. Later that night, back at the lodging, the girls from Ajin's room are wondering where the others who haven't arrived yet are. When Ajin starts questioning who they are waiting for, the door opens and there's Jungmin and his friends with a suitcase, probably filled with drinks. Of course. Choi is with them and so is our dear protagonist, Jan Woo. The girls don't seem too pleased with Kai's presence. And clueless Ajin hasn't even realized that Jan Woo is there, that he only came to apologize to her because he doesn't even enjoy these types of gatherings. When she realizes